What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Drake and Jimmy Jew Show. My name is Drake Peterson, and that over there is the spectacular Jimmy the Jew. And as always, we are joined by our producer, Christopher McCone. On today's episode, we're going to be flattening things out a little bit, here to convince the three of us and the thousands of listeners of the show that the Earth is flat. Please welcome flat Earth expert David Weiss.
Flat Earth expert, I'll take it, but
Flat Earth expert.
that sounds a little crazy in itself, and
It does,
yeah.
definitely.
And I'm talking to three ballers, right? You guys are on the ball side of the fence.
I'm definitely the world's round, correct.
All right, so I'm going to say during this podcast, I'm going to say some really crazy, insane things, as you would expect. And I'm also going to say some things that are, that makes sense. That's simple. Yeah, that common sense. And what you're going to notice is whenever I'm saying the crazy, insane things, I'm describing the helio nonsensical model, which I call it. And whenever I'm saying the things that make sense, it's going to be about the flat Earth. So we'll go from there. Where do you want to start?
Well, first of all, what I want to know is what did we when I called you Flat Earth expert, is that the right title, or what is your title? Tell all of our listeners your credentials and why we should be believing you and trusting your opinion.
Yeah, good question. So when I used to do a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, and in the third year, people started sending me flat Earth stuff. Hey, Dave, watch this flat Earth video. Have you looked into flat Earth? And as any normal, smart person would do, you would delete that email and ban them from your social media for being so stupid as to waste your time with such nonsense. But then, then I was forced to look into it by another fellow researcher, Sophia Smallstorm, and she said, Dave, I think the Earth might be flat. And I was like, all right, that's it. What do you got? Send it to me. And she sent me some stuff, and I went into it with a bias, not a bias to find the truth, a bias to prove flat Earth is not true and prove the globe. And for 2 weeks, I tried to come up with a single proof of the globe, and I couldn't. Flash forward 6 years later, I've left my own successful company. I do this full time. I'm the host of the Flat Earth podcast. I'm the creator of the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, which is the easiest way to find the truth. And I'm here talking to guys like you on what's today? Tuesday?
I think it's a Tuesday.
Beautiful
Nice.
Tuesday, January the 5th.
Day before the end of the world, possibly, huh?
No, Trump will
what?
succeed. We're good. We're good.
All right, good.
I have faith
Wait,
in Trump.
what? Why is that? Why is the world about to end?
Well,
Biden wins.
Who knows
If
what's going to
Biden
happen
wins,
tomorrow? Yeah.
All
Like if
the
Biden
bottom
wins,
line.
it could be the end.
He's going to win. Already won.
No, he hasn't.
Yes, he
All
has.
right. We're not getting
I
into
know.
that. We're going to
Right,
get
right.
into some hard truths here.
That is a hard truth.
Yeah.
All right, so give us your elevator pitch. Give us your pitch on why we know, or why you know, that the world is flat.
So back to your first question, why am I an expert? Well, I've been studying it every day, 24 hours a day for 6 years while I'm sleeping. So that might make me an expert. There are other people that probably know more than me, but I'm out here. I've got the loudest mouth and I'm talking to you guys. So right now I'm your expert. So most people have an incorrect idea. The people that hate the flat Earth have been gatekept. They've searched flat Earth, and they've seen the Flat Earth Society, which Obama plugged a half a dozen times in his speeches. And the Flat Earth Society is a disinformation site to basically make you laugh at flat Earth and never look at it again. You go there, you check it out, you'll never, ever look at flat Earth again because it's the most ridiculous thing ever. The other thing that people that hate flat Earth have is they don't even understand their own heliocentric model, because if they did, they would realize that it's complete pseudoscience and impossible. So we're going to get into all of that real quick. What is the flat Earth? It's not a disk floating in space. So if you Google flat Earth, you'll end up at the Flat Earth Society. You'll see a picture like this. You know, what are we, a flat pancake and all the other planets are round, right? Nonsense. You know, you Google images of flat Earth, you come up with stuff like this. That's not what any flat earther believes. So what is the flat Earth? The flat Earth is the basement. The way I describe it, it's the basement of the universe, right? So just like a puddle forms at the low spot in the land, and the edge of the puddle is where the land is higher than the puddle. You with me? Very simple, right?
Yeah.
So now expand it out to a pond, which is a big puddle, and a lake, which is even bigger. The land going around the outside is the higher land that contains the water. You can't fall off a lake. You can get to the edge of a lake, and think of the world, all of the oceans, as a giant pond. And the land that surrounds the edge of our world ocean is Antarctica. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. Okay. If you went on a boat, went to Japan, Italy, to the Caribbean, California, wherever, you get off the boat, you walk into town, you go buy some beer, do whatever you want. It's right there with the shore. But if you go to Antarctica, the land is 200 feet over your head. Hence, the land is the highest land on Earth. And we live in the Antarctic basin. Okay. So we live within the circle. So here's the world pond. Here are a bunch of islands. We call them continents. Here's the shoreline. And what's beyond there? What's beyond the shoreline of Antarctica? We don't know, because no one is allowed to go beyond this pink line. The Antarctic Treaty in 1957 was created. All of the countries in the world signed this treaty in 1957 for environmentalism, before environmentalism was even a word. And they said, why, nobody can explore Antarctica, no person, not you, not me, not a corporation, and you can't even question the treaty until the year 2041. Okay, right? Because we have to protect.
Where can we find that treaty?
Yeah, so you just look up Antarctic Treaty, and again, you're going to get fed a lot of disinformation about it. But I'm going to show you, when I show you my app, and I'm not here just to sell apps. The app is a tool that'll help you learn, and all the information I'm telling you can be found in there. Do not believe anything I say. I'm pointing to some doors. I'm saying there's information behind those doors. It's up to you to go look at it and verify it, right? I'm just a guy on the internet, Flat Earth Dave. Who the hell is this nutcase? So where was I? The
Antarctic Treaty.
Antarctic Treaty, because they have to protect the penguins and the ice. Nobody could drop a cigarette butt on the ice, right? Even though Admiral Byrd, who in 1957 flew out there and said there's land bigger than the United States and no one's ever stepped foot on, filled with resources, but everyone signs nobody can go out there. But we can deforest the Amazon. We could do all sorts of stuff. None of that matters. So that's kind of what the flat Earth is. So now compare that. Kind of makes sense. Water, the Earth is 70% water. Large bodies of water at rest lay flat, provably flat. And I'm going to show you some evidence that there is no curvature to large bodies of water. If it was a sphere, it would be moving. So let's look at what the heliocentric model is real quick, and then you guys can hit me with any questions that you want. We believe that if you believe in the heliocentric model, you have to believe in this. This is what you believe, that you're on a ball 24,901 miles around that's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, right? It goes around once a day, 24,000 miles, 1,000 miles an hour. So you believe when you're watching the sunset that you're on the top of a ball, there's the sun, and you're falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound, which is making the sun appear to set below a physical horizon. That's nonsense. While you're spinning, you're orbiting the sun. Like if this was the sun, we whip in fast and we come out and we whip in. So we're taking these elliptical circles, speeding up and slowing down 66,000 miles an hour. While we're doing that, we're chasing the sun. We're chasing it because it's flying at 500,000 miles an hour. But meanwhile, all of the planets are staying on that same plane as it's chasing the sun. Right, all of those planets, they're not going around like this. They're all staying on this same plane as it flies and curves through the galaxy, and the galaxy is moving sideways at 1 or 2 million miles an hour. All of that is happening. All of those curving motions. Curving is acceleration. It's not like you're going in a straight line. Imagine if you were in a car going 100 miles an hour on a perfectly straight, flat road, and you had a dinner plate and somebody poured an inch of water on that plate. No problem. But if that car takes a turn, what's going to happen? That water is going to slosh. Does this water look like it's sloshing in any way? Does this water look like the Earth is moving in any way? Would I be able to build this rock pyramid if we were turning and curving and swirling and flying in 4 different directions at once?
Though, if I'm on a plane and I have a cup of water sitting on my tray table and the plane takes a super sharp turn, because there's so much momentum and so much gravity, that water stays in place and I stay in place. I don't have my head smash against the side of the plane.
So now double the speed of the plane, take the outside of the plane off, because we're not in a container on the globe Earth.
Aren't we in a container?
No,
Yeah.
on a globe Earth, we're on the outside of a ball, adjacent to a vacuum, and we're moving at 1,000 miles an hour. That's just one of the directions that we're moving. Okay. So the airplane also, when you're on an airplane, think about this. The airplane's flying, you're flying for 4 or 5 hours, you watch a movie, you're dozing off to sleep. And then all of a sudden you're about 45 minutes, half an hour from your location, and the pilot starts descending. He slightly descends. He's descending at like, maybe 200, 300, 500 feet a minute, maybe not even that much, right? As soon as he starts descending, you notice that descent, you notice that change in your angular movement, right? But if you were on an airplane on a ball Earth traveling for an hour, the drop would be a mile every 2 minutes. A mile, a half a mile a minute you would have to drop so you wouldn't fly off into space. Okay. A gyro is how a plane stays level. It's on the ground. The gyro spins up. It holds rigidity in space. Definition of a gyro. It holds rigidity in space. So when the plane turns left and right, the gyro stays level with the ground. And that way the plane turns, you know that when you're level with that gyro, right? That gyro doesn't turn with the Earth. It would stay straight and the plane would fly, would fly. Where am I going? Right here. Would fly outwards, straight out. In an hour, you'd be 80,000 feet in the air. Doesn't happen.
Okay, how does the sun and moon both rise in the east, sets in the west? They have to be going around us.
Very good. Very good.
They have to be going around
Great
us.
questions. Great
And
questions.
no matter where you are in the world, same thing. And didn't Amelia Earhart fly around the fucking world?
Would you like to tackle circumnavigation?
Wow.
Sounds like a big fucking word on Tuesday. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning here, right?
Yeah.
I
No
need
problem.
a drink.
Yeah.
So the way the flat Earth works is the sun is at the center of the flat Earth. Not the sun, I'm sorry. At the center of the flat Earth is the magnetic north, right? So here is a magnet at the north, okay? And I have a compass. You see the needle is pointing right to the north. And now I want to head dead east or dead west. I have to keep turning. To maintain that heading of 90 degrees or 270 degrees, because I got to keep that needle pointed. So I think I'm going in a straight line, but I'm going in a circle. Now that doesn't prove the Earth is flat because it's the same on a ball Earth and a flat Earth. Okay. So I'm going, where am I going? West there. I'm looking at it backwards. So if I try to go in a straight line without paying attention to my compass, so I take off heading dead east or west, whatever that says. And if I go in a straight line, I'm now heading south because north is over here. So now I'm heading south. That compass should have turned a little bit. The magnet isn't strong enough, but a straight line will take you south. East and west are circles. Billions of people have circumnavigated east and west. People have gone, from the United States, gone north and then kept going straight and then south, and bam, you're over on the other side of the world. That doesn't prove the Earth is flat because you can do that on a flat Earth, on a ball Earth. What you can't do on a flat Earth is go from Santiago, Chile, straight across to Australia, which is down at the bottom of the ball. Both of those are down here on the ball, right? And people say, well, you're not allowed to fly over Antarctica because of the treaty. Okay, so let's just stay at that 55 degrees south and just go around. This is the shortest route. That's the shortest route. That's how planes should fly. But they don't. What planes do is they want to go to Western Australia, they go all the way up here across the United States and then all the way back down. If they want to go to Eastern Australia, they go all the way up here, then they go all the way over to Europe or Dubai, which is over here, and then all the way back down. That's crazy. What does that look like on a flat Earth map? It looks like this.
Well, it's also probably because there's not a full plane load of people to fucking do that travel.
That's a trip. Standard. You guys are asking all of the pre-programmed questions. So
this common sense.
I'm gonna talk. Well, there are direct flights.
They quit going to Vegas.
Flights.
They quit flying from Vegas behind my house because there wasn't enough fucking airplanes. So now they go from right by my house down to LA over to Vegas. That doesn't mean it's round or flat. It means they didn't have enough fucking passengers to take a full 747.
There are sold out flights from Santiago to Auckland. That there are direct flights, but that's a whole nother thing. So this is the same route. It's a straight line. Or if you want to go to Eastern Australia, look, if I go over here to the other side of Australia, look, I'm in Europe, Dubai, and bam, it's a straight line on a flat Earth map. Airplanes fly straight and level over an Earth plane. Okay. There is no flights. There's no cruise ships that go from a southern location to another southern location. They all go up and around. You could say, well, that's because there's nothing out there. Well, Eastern Island is out there. There's all sorts of stuff.
Well, for Antarctica,
yeah,
isn't it just it's too cold for them to fly over? Like you have to have special licenses to figure out how to get to fly in those extreme weather conditions. Isn't
that's nonsense. Why can we fly over the North Pole? Why isn't the North Pole the same temperature as Antarctica? Because if the Earth
same reason it's not the same temperature as Hawaii. It's just the way it is.
Well, the Earth is tilted
on the equator.
Yeah, so the Earth is tilted. You should have the same temperature, the same plant life, same animal life at the same degrees north 6 months later at the same degrees south. It should be similar, but it's not nearly similar. Light isn't similar.
So why? How do you explain seasons then?
Okay, so let me. You know what? Can I share my screen? Do you have screen sharing available?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'm going to explain the whole thing.
Allow.
You have to enable me to screen share.
While Drake does that, I want to ask a question about something that's obviously really important to this, but the documentary Behind the Curve and the experiment they did to try to prove the Earth was flat, and they failed miserably.
Yeah. So you can also watch Jurassic Park. So Behind the Curve is a movie. It's a story. They tried to make it into a love story. And the experiment you're talking about at the end is with my buddy co-host Jaron. He had an experiment where we had a canal 3 miles long, and we had 3 sheets of plywood with a hole at the same level based off the surface of the water. And we're going to shoot a laser through the first hole and through the second hole and through the third hole. But if the Earth is curved, it wouldn't work because the middle hole would be higher, right? There's no way to do it. Well, what happened was the laser melted the condenser because lasers spread out. We had this condenser on it. It melted. So the laser broke. So they said, well, let's just try it with a light. And they held a light at the hole level and they couldn't see it. Okay. Because something was blocking it. Is it curvature? I don't know. Then they held it up higher and they're like, can you see it? He's like, yes, I can see it. And Jaron goes, that's interesting. Then they cut the film. Then he brings the camera down again. And he goes, wait, I can see it now. So that would kind of prove that the Earth is not curved because he shouldn't be able to see it. But everybody there, including the globe side of the argument, all walked away and said it didn't prove anything. The experiment was a fail because of conditions, but the movie made it look like he proved the curve. So the best proof that the ballers have is that a flat earther proved curvature. It's kind of sad.
You ever go skydiving? I like skydiving, and if you go to 18,000 feet in Monterey, because it's pretty high up, you have to use a little oxygen thing. I've done it. You can see the whole curvature of the Earth, fucking round as fucking day.
So that's what you think because you're probably water. So hang on, you're probably wearing glasses, curved goggles, but this is 120,000 feet and it's flat, right? This is another shot from 120,000 feet.
So what about space shuttles? You look back at the Earth and it's round. You think is that fake?
My friend,
okay, I'm just saying if that's fake.
Jimmy, I'm going to show you how everything you see from the space shuttle, from the ISS, is complete and total bullshit.
Whoa,
and that
quite
listen,
a statement.
I was alive when the moon landings happened, and it's very personal to me. But once I show you liars on top of liars on top of liars, you can't trust anything they say. So
how are they benefiting from saying the Earth is a
So let's save the why until after I show you that the heliocentric model and it is the most important lie the elite have. That's why it's so big of a lie. So where were we? We're talking about curvature. Neil deGrasse Tyson says you can't see the curvature of the Earth at the height of an airplane. You have to be at 60,000 feet. And then we showed them at 60,000 feet how they're not seeing a curve. You're looking through a curved window. You're using a fisheye lens. And then Felix Baumgarten did his space bull jump, and he said he saw the curve of the Earth.
Right.
Okay. He said they saw the curve of the Earth. But when you look at this and you look at these little lakes and rivers and stuff, this is all New Mexico. This is Planet New Mexico. That is a fisheye lens that bends horizons. He did another jump prior to this one that was a test jump where they didn't have fisheye lenses and everything was perfectly flat, but they didn't show that. So the question is, did he lie, or was he just looking through he had a curved glass goggles on, and when you look through curved glass helmet, everything is curved, even when you're standing on the ground. Then Neil deGrasse Tyson comes out and says, because we held their feet to the fire, showed that this is fisheye, and they backpedaled. They go, you can't see the curvature at 127,000 feet. He goes, that stuff is flat, he said. Okay. So every time we show them there is no curvature, they move the globe post again higher. So, how many times you want to do that? Here, let me show you a quick thing. Every NASA rocket that goes up curves out and goes into the Bermuda Triangle, and within a minute you're watching a cartoon on TV. And if you ever watch them live, you'll see that it's complete and total nonsense. As I'm looking for the video,
what do you mean a cartoon when you say cartoon?
So when you watch any SpaceX launch, NASA launch, if you watch it on TV, before the thing clears the tower, they've already cut to like 5 different cuts, like a movie, because it is a movie, and they are launching something, but that's a whole nother. There's no people on it, and it goes up, it curves out, and within a minute or two, you can see that it clearly ran out of fuel, and it falls into the ocean in restricted areas. So on television, they're showing you a cartoon. It's clear as day once you see it. And again, I'm going to show you in my app all of the proof of what I'm saying.
Okay.
You're not sure, but I'm going to show you, and then you can be sure. Don't believe anything I'm saying. So in Arizona, these guys sent up, it was called the Go Fast rocket. It went straight up. This was an amateur rocket, bunch of guys in the middle of the desert. It went up, and at 73 miles, going straight up, super fast. It's spinning around, and all of a sudden it went kerplunk, like the sound if you dropped a stone into a lake. And then all of a sudden it started floating, right? So it made that kerplunk noise. It's floating. And then when it turned on its side, it saw something very interesting. So over here in a second, you're going to see the dark sky, and you're going to see the moon. So ready? Here comes the moon right there. There's the moon. No question. We zoom in on it. It's clearly the moon. Here's the problem. The moon was over Australia when this rocket took off. Australia is straight down through the earth. The only way you could see the moon would be across the earth. It was over Australia. That alone proves that we're not on a ball. There's no other excuse.
How can you even tell? First of all, for all of our listeners, go watch this on our YouTube, because you'll be able to see David has a great little slide behind him, and he's showing videos. But how can you even tell, first of all, where the moon is, what the moon is over, and what?
Because
what are we even looking at?
You can look on just see where the moon is. You can see where the moon is when the moon is at your zenith. The day that this was filmed, at this time, the moon was over Australia. It was like midnight in Australia, and the moon was high in their sky.
Why am I not seeing it here? If we're on a flat Earth, the moon should be above us all the time. That it's over us.
Well, very good, very good. Why can't you see it? Because when the moon is far away, it's beyond the convergence point. You can't see it. We can't see that far. And again, when I show you the app, it's going to show you how things work a little better, and then you could ask more questions.
Saturn and Jupiter and all those, which are much farther away than the moon. And I see those.
So you have to. This is where this is going to hurt your soul. What I'm going to tell you. Okay.
Oh, no. I don't think anything's going to hurt his soul from what I've told him before.
Yeah. So your belief in planets comes from NASA and Disney. Nowhere else. Okay. It's all bullshit. Now we can look up. I can go with my telescope and my super zoom camera, and I can see Saturn. It looks like a ball to me. It looks like a light bulb, and those dirt, rocks, and ice rings are lit up just like the rest of the planets looking up. I'm like, wow, that's really reflective. They both look the same. When you look up and see a planet in the sky, it's brighter than the sun. It's like a piece of the sun. It's brighter than any star out there, and we're supposed to believe that's reflected light. Here's an example. Here's the moon. On a full moon, you can be away from city lights, and you could read a newspaper by the moon, right? Not that you should ever read a newspaper, but it's bright enough. It casts shadows on the ground. It's super bright. If this is being lit up by a single source light, the sun, it should have a hot spot because it's a sphere, and it should get dimmer towards the sides, but it's not. It's its own light. The moon emits its own light. And that's also provable. Did you know that it's colder in moonlight than if you went in the shade? Okay. If you magnify moonlight, it gets colder. Like when you magnify sunlight, it gets hotter. You can burn things. You can make things cold by magnifying moonlight. That's beyond my ability to understand, but it's a fact. So it's a different kind of light. But you have to believe that this
have you tried it?
Yes, we have tried it. Hundreds of us have tried it, and we have tons of videos and documentation, and you can do it yourself. And by the way, there's a lot of ways you can screw up that experiment where you're insulating the ground, making it warmer. There's all ways that you can do it and get a false positive. But if you do it properly, you can do it. But look at this. This liar is standing on the moon, this dusty, dirty ball. Okay. You have to believe that this reflected sunlight is going all the way back to Earth, and you could read a newspaper by it. Okay. The way light works is, imagine a car light, a car coming at you from way, way down a straight road, and its light is very dim. And when it gets halfway to you, it's a lot brighter. And then if you half that distance again, it's significantly brighter, and it exponentially gets brighter. That's called the inverse square law of light. It's very simple. If you half the distance to a light, it gets 4 times brighter. If you half that distance, it gets 4 times brighter. So let's give the moon every advantage. This is probably like 20 lumens, but let's just say it's 1 lumen. Lumen is a measurement of light.
Right.
If I went halfway to the moon, it's 4 lumens. If I went half of that distance, it's 16 lumens. Half of that distance, it's 64 lumens. And it keeps on quadrupling until you get to 100 miles away from the moon, where the astronauts took a picture that looked kind of like this brightness, but the amount of lumens is like 10 million lumens. It would melt your eyeballs. Okay. Scientifically, we can prove that you can't reflect light off of the moon all the way back to Earth and have it be like this. So the moon is a huge mystery. I'm not telling you I know what the moon is, but if you go out and clear your mind and look at the moon, especially when it's in the day sky, it's within our sky. Everything we see is within the Earth system. It's all circling around within the Earth system, everything we see.
Okay, so I want to talk about NASA and Disney. You're saying that these companies are making up essentially space.
Yeah, so with a 1.2 megapixel camera, this spacecraft that was cruising by Pluto, where they say, you know, if you're on Pluto, the sun would look like a small star. Okay. And was able to take this picture and send it back to Earth, hundreds of millions of miles away, whatever the distance is. And somehow it had this little cutout that kind of looks like Pluto the dog. I don't know. That's just a coincidence. That's my imagination working.
Yes.
Although Pluto the dog and Pluto the planet were created and discovered in the same year. Walt Disney and Werner von Braun, the Nazi rocket scientist that ran NASA, work close with Walt Disney. Okay. So that's interesting. Let's look at this picture. This is, they tell us that Jupiter, this giant gaseous planet, when they show us that there's some videos on NASA's website where this band is going one way, this band is going the other way. This is the storm, right? That never changes. That's bigger than Earth, right? This is like a hurricane bigger than Earth that's been going. These are all clouds, right? And they said in 2016, NASA said this, we've got this amazing new picture and we have these northern lights. Okay. These guys are lying and mocking you. If you believe these are the northern lights, you're out of your mind, but let's just assume they are because we can't prove them wrong. But if you overlay this 2016 photo on top of the 2014 photo, you will see that every little cloud is exactly the same. See this little dot, this little cloud right here? Look, it's right there. It's right there. These little waves, they're still there. You're telling me over 2 years difference that none of the clouds changed? Any logical mind will see that they're lying. They're lying about this. They're faking everything. Everything they're faking. Let's look at
again though.
When they're good.
What are they gaining from this? What is the U.S. government gaining from putting billions of dollars into NASA just to try and get us to believe there's space and the planet's round?
So I'm the defense attorney. I'm the prosecuting attorney in the case of the ball versus the flat Earth. And I'm
Jimmy's
going to
head
save the
flat?
motive. I'm going to save the motive for the end. Okay. I'm going to save the motive for the end. Let me prove my case first.
The money shot.
And then, I'm going to give you the money shot. All right.
Ooh, I'm
Chris
ready.
is getting the money shot.
No, I want it.
Ah, fuck. Damn it.
So, and people also see what they want to see. You see this shot of Pluto, right? I mean, of Jupiter, right?
Yeah.
It's actually ducks in a meadow. Okay. So what I'm saying is people see what they want to see. They see what they want to see. Sorry to do that for you, but it got me too, by the way. I was like, it got me. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. So we see these guys on the space station, right? And they're always flipping their microphone around and flipping a duck around and playing with globs of water and stuff. What if we caught them hanging by wires? What if we caught them using green screens just once? Then you'd be like, okay, something's going on. This is bullshit. But we've caught them 1,000 times.
Really?
And when they're doing their backflips, they get tangled in their wires. Sometimes they do 0G flights where they can get 45 seconds of weightlessness. And then they show us stuff like that. There was one time on the news, this was back, I think it was in the Skylab days or the beginning of the space shuttle days. And the news was like, we're going to have a rare interview with the space station. And we're waiting for the satellite to get into position. And we're only going to have them for like a minute. Okay. So, because that's all they can fake 0G on the 0G plane. So you had the three guys on there, they're interviewing them. And about 30 seconds into the interview, all of the guys that were floating went bam into the side wall. And they cut out and they're like, oh, something happened. There was a sudden shift in the space station. Right. That's what they said. So I looked at that video and I turned it 90 degrees and I put it side by side with all the people in a 0G flight when it hits the end of their parabolic turn, and they all fell exactly the same way. They all fell exactly the same way. And here's the kicker. One guy that was there, he's flipping a roll of duct tape and a ball or something floating around, because they're always mesmerizing the audience with things floating, because that's so cool. We're in 0G. He, all of a sudden the space shuttle shifted. He slammed to the ground unexpectedly, but with one hand behind his back, with one hand, he catches both of them like he's done it 1,000 times. He goes, bam, bam, just like that, catches both of them. All right. I have the video showing you. That is clearly a 0G plane. Here's a shot where these guys were passing this virtual reality object by, and this guy goes floating by in the background, but the green screen screwed up and his knee harness and his waist harness didn't get hidden. This guy is floating on a harness. Anyone that doesn't see that is blind.
Or is that answer cloth just sticking up because he's in zero gravity?
He's hanging from wires. They never show the ceiling during these shots, and they never show the fourth wall. And then these guys are playing with flipping a hat around, flipping their microphone around, but they're using, it's called augmented reality, where they can grab virtual things in space and manipulate them. Well, this guy, it'll show it in a second, he missed it. He was handed the hat and he missed it, and he went and he put it away, not knowing it wasn't in his hand. Here it comes. So this guy, he's supposed to hand him the hat, and the guy, this looped back and forth. He puts it away. Okay. That's you can make up excuses, but again, we've caught them with these things.
I feel like you're making up something right now, because you're just saying anything that could kind of prove your point.
No. Here's the thing. This isn't even the good. I have to find little short clips to play here, because the longer ones, there's one where she's going to grab an object that wasn't there, and then it beams in, and they even made a like a Star Trek beaming in noise, and this thing just appeared and she starts manipulating it. We have tons of videos like that. This one, these guys were just finishing, just before they cut away, green screen screwed up. Everything in the foreground that was floating blurred out, and then they cut away, and everything in the background stayed in focus. So this is clear evidence. These guys aren't even in the same room. Okay.
Huh. I mean, yeah, that is kind of sketchy looking.
And again, I'm going to show you on the app again where you can see the full versions of all of these completely broken down, and you can see it yourself. There's times where a guy is going around a corner, and there really is no corner in a 0G plane. So they had to fade him out, and they faded him out too soon, and you could see through his body. So you could see the wall through his body. I mean, it's clear.
I believe that stuff does happen. You see the idea with the Pope coming out and waving. As soon as he turns around, he disappears. It's all, you know.
Yeah, maybe that wasn't the Pope, man. But
No, it wasn't.
Again,
It was a hologram.
Yeah.
Holy,
so
is the Pope dead?
There's a lot of fake shit out there for sure.
There's a lot of fake shit, and everything on the space station is fake. I mean, I showed you that, you know, here are the two photos of Earth. This one was on everyone's iPhone. These two circles are the same size. The United States is twice the size over here. These balls are the same size. And this one, you can say, well, it's at a different angle. If I took this one and tilted it back like the other one, it gets smaller. It doesn't get bigger. Look how big the United States is here. And it's ridiculous.
That's for photo effect. That's to make a better photo for them. There's no reason they wouldn't doctor that, because they can, to make it look more appealing on your iPhone. Other than that,
NASA admits that there's no photos of Earth. Now, if you look at the 2012 shot, this is what NASA. This is like their best photo from space. Here's the United States. This is a map showing the relative sizes of all of the land masses. So I'm showing you what we're seeing on that ball approximately. You have to believe that this land here, this land here, this land, all of this, including Australia, is on the other side of that ball.
NASA has not said that.
This is a photo from NASA's website.
I do believe. So it wouldn't be on the other side. It would be down the other side. On the lower half of the side.
All of this land is hidden. Yeah. We're seeing a full Earth, so we're seeing half of the Earth.
Yeah, but we're down
all of this other land has to be hidden on the other side.
It would come around the bottom circumference.
Yeah, I want to see that. NASA has said there has never been a whole Earth photo, of course, because the Earth is so large and you're looking at one side of a ball, but they have never
because it's round.
A full image of Earth.
Yeah, but we have pictures of Pluto. We have pictures of all the other planets except Earth.
But also part of that is because like they have a larger photo of that because they're from a way further distance away. But there are photos of Earth that NASA has confirmed. They've never said there's no photo of Earth.
Which one? Which one of these? Which one would you like to call a photo of Earth?
Again, not the entire planet, because it's a sphere. So they can't get a picture of the entire sphere.
Well, you would get a picture of one side of the planet.
If it was flat, you'd see the whole thing, like your models, right?
So hang on. They're not taking photos of Earth. These are paintings. Okay. You can't get a photo of the flat Earth because you can't get high enough to see it.
We can't see the other side.
High enough to see it all. What is on the other side? I say the Earth is the basement of the universe. Okay. The deepest hole ever dug is the Great Borehole in Russia.
I was married to her.
And yeah. And they got around just before 8 miles. They hit an impenetrable barrier, just like your ex-wife.
Exactly. Sorry, Alicia.
And they couldn't get through it. For years they tried drilling and blowing it up. Nothing. So what can't even more.
Sorry.
So and by the way, when they were digging that hole, they were using ground penetrating radar to see what they were going to hit next. And guess what? They were wrong every step of the way. Oh, there's no more water. Bam, they hit water. Oh, there's no more rocks. They hit rocks. So that is equivalent to drilling through the skin on an apple and being wrong all the way, but somehow knowing what's in the center. It's all pseudoscience. We were taught on a meme, you know, the cross section of Earth with all the different layers and the molten core. That's a meme. It's pseudoscience, and there's zero science behind it.
Okay, so my question to you is, if you had the opportunity to go to space, let's say Elon Musk gives you a call and he goes, "Hey,
argument. No one goes to space.
Dave, I want you to come up to space." And you, let's just say you were like, "Yes, Elon, I'm going to go to space and I'm going to document the whole thing." And he takes you up in his little tiny phallic like rocket ship and you blast off into space, which you're saying is not true. What happens if you go up there and you see for yourself that there is a space and that there is a round world? Would you admit that you were wrong?
I'm trying to think of an equal example of something that's impossible to do to you and ask you if you would believe it was possible, because nobody can go to space. Now,
it's easy. They believe in Biden won. Trust me.
Yeah.
And nobody can fucking believe that. They're fucking idiots. So yeah, these guys can
you,
believe
you
anything.
and I are brothers, my friend.
Oh,
Yeah.
here we go.
Yeah, these guys. God,
yeah, you're
damn.
you're both a little cuckoo. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I know, Dave. I just want to know, like, seriously, if you went up there for yourself, like, let's just say, I know that you think that it's not true, but let's just say that you went up there. Would you admit that it is real?
Sure.
Like, if I saw God or heaven or something, which I honestly don't really believe in, but if I saw it, I would be like, okay, I believe it. I was wrong. Would you do the same?
Sure. But you're asking, it's a straw man argument. It's ridiculous because nobody's been to space.
Well, I have a question for you. If you don't believe in space, but you still believe in planets out there, so what do you think?
No, I don't believe in planets out there. I don't.
What is this then? Is it we're just one little
So
It's Disney.
So let's do one thing at a time. Guys, breathe here. You drink whatever you're drinking. This is the
Drink the
star
Drink the
Arcturus.
Kool-Aid.
Cheers.
Our consumer optics have outgrown their lies. NASA tells us this is a burning ball trillions of miles away, and we're able to zoom in on it and see the hell is this thing. Okay, that's the star Arcturus. This is the star. What star is this? This is Capella. Looks totally different. It might look a little out of focus, but the colors, the cymatic patterns, and then this one is Sirius, right? It's a little slowed down right now. These are not burning balls of hydrogen trillions of miles away. These are within the Earth system, okay? I don't know what they are. They're above our heads or beyond Antarctica. That's speculation. So I don't know what it is, but it's not what they tell us.
And why do you say that? Because of the colors? Because a lot of that can be chalked up to chromatic aberration for a super long lens.
Yeah, you can say that, but when you look at it,
I couldn't say that.
The fact that you zoom in on these things and each one has a different complete, personality. I don't know what you want to call it. They're all very, very different.
Any kind of chromatic aberration is going to change based on like the angle of the lens, the distance it is away.
So again, anything above our heads is speculation. So let's go back down to Earth. Here, if the Earth is 24,901 miles around, there's a simple arithmetic problem that tells you what that curvature is, and that's 8 inches per mile squared, because the farther you go, the steeper it goes. So you have to square the miles. This is globe math. Okay, go verify it yourself. So that means at 1 mile, it's an 8-inch drop. At 2 miles, 2 times 2 times 8 is 32 inches. At 3 miles, it's 6 feet drop. So that means a 6-foot tall guy standing next to the edge of calm water can only see the surface of that water for 6 miles, because then it drops over the curve. And anything beyond that. Well, this thing, 9.4 miles away, should have the camera is 1 foot off the ground. So we took that into account, 59 feet of curvature. But not only can we see it, we can see the water from miles beyond it. This is just a screenshot. I have video where we zoom in on it. You can see the water that should be hundreds of feet below it, but we can see too far. We have countless observations with lasers, with mirror flashes, with microwaves, where we can see too far. I said this is a screenshot from a video. I'm telling you, I'll show you where you can see all of this stuff. Again, don't believe anything I'm saying. You have to verify it yourself. And the ball has a huge advantage over the flat Earth. You can just believe it and then go drink a beer. Doesn't matter. You want to learn about the flat Earth, you actually have to think and not memorize and regurgitate. You have to actually think.
I'm watching a live view right now of the International Space Station.
You're not. You're watching one. I'm going to tell you what you see. You see a glove hanging there, right? There's a little glove floating around, right?
Right now, this is a shot from outside in space.
Outside. So it's not. It's the same loop that's been going for the last 20 years. It's the same thing. You're going to see a glove in a minute. And then if you actually take freeze frames and look at the Earth, you'll see that it has different amounts of curvature depending on where it is in the frame. Right? It changes where it is in the frame. It should be exactly the same at all times.
Well, I want to circle back really quick here about your globe.
Yeah. Circle back? You might not want to use that word right now.
So you didn't say reach around.
Earth, 8 inches per mile, right?
8 inches per mile squared.
It does not say squared in this formula at all. And this is from
if it was 8 inches per mile, then the Earth is a ramp. Okay. But as you go out on a linear path, the Earth is going to drop away faster and faster. 8 inches per mile squared. And that formula only works for the first couple thousand miles, and that's it. But it doesn't matter because you can't even see 300 miles.
No, it's 8 inches per mile. So that means you would drop
Squared.
72 inches.
No.
So you still see that just fine.
No.
I don't think that math holds up.
No, you're incorrect. Think about a tangent line on top of a ball, right? Here's the ball curving away. The first 8 inches, and then it's farther, and then it's farther, because it's dropping away at an exponential rate. It is testable math. You can do it with the size of the ball and figure out how far you go. And yes, it is the diameter or the radius of the Earth. It is correct math. It's not my math. It's baller's math. And even if you say, well, it's only half of that because you're halfway between the hump, you take half of it. It still doesn't work. We see too far, period. We have tons of evidence of it. Let me show you another thing.
Can I? We have a Patreon question that I want to just ask you. One of our listeners wants to know if you believe in aliens.
So that's a great question, and there's two words for aliens and extraterrestrials. Most people say they're the same thing. I like the word extraterrestrial because it makes more sense. Extraterrestrials come from the extra terra, the extra land beyond the Antarctica, or possibly in the center, because no one's allowed to go to the North Pole either, whether you realize that or not. Perhaps there's other land, like we live here, this is Antarctica, and perhaps on these extra lands, there's extraterrestrials out here. I did a talk, it's called The Outward Flow of Civilizations. It's about where the Mayans and the Aztecs all went to. They all disappeared. They might have moved outwards with their sun, and a new sun was born in the north. And we live in this oscillating sun within this part of the pond. Okay. Again, I'm speculating beyond Antarctica, but extraterrestrials look like us. They probably speak English, and they're a day trip away on a conventional airplane.
Why English?
I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
It's such a small place. Maybe they speak Spanish, right? Yeah. But you hope they speak English, because I don't speak Spanish. Let me share my my screen and show you how the sky is a perfect clock. All right, you guys ready?
Yes.
All right, take a sip of your coffee, whatever you got to do. So the sky is a perfect clock, and this is going to prove that we're stationary and everything moves around. The sun is the hour hand. And you know what the controllers did? They go, hey, you know what? We're going to give them clocks, but we better make the hour hand go around twice every day, or they might figure it out. So the hour hand only goes around once a day. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. Like it's noon right now in Western Australia. Okay. So the sun keeps track of the hours and the days. If I speed it up, you'll see that the sun is slowly catching up to the moon, because the sun will lap the moon once every 28 days.
The eclipse, right? Or whatever, no?
Well, not an eclipse. It's just the phases of the moon. And occasionally there's an eclipse, and we could talk about that next. But so right now we're going into a new moon. A couple times around, you'll see the waxing crescent. So the moon and its phases keep track of the weeks and the months, which used to be called moons. Okay. So the sun keeps track of the hours and days. The moon keeps track of the weeks and the months. And if I turn on the stars, all of the zodiac stars, the zodiac wheel is almost going the same speed as the sun, except it's going a tiny bit faster. It takes a full year for the zodiac to lap the sun. So the sun will be, it's in this constellation right now, and next month it'll be here, next month it'll be here, and the next month it'll be here. And it takes a full year for the sun to, for the stars. So the stars keep track of the seasons and the years. If you guys go out tonight, 10 o'clock, midnight, whatever, mark where some stars are in the sky, make a little star chart. And then next year, same night, or in 10 years on the same night, go out, same time, and those stars will be in the exact same position.
Right. That's how the solar system
will not
works.
have changed. Yeah. Well, no, the solar system is, we're in this crazy spinning, spiraling solar system where the stars should never be the same 2 nights in a row. We're billions of miles where we were last year.
What did everybody do before Disney and NASA? Because I mean, people have been looking at the moon and sun for thousands of years.
So our history is a total lie. There was an advanced civilization called Tartaria.
But my grandma was born before. My grandma used to tell me she was going to watch the moon when she was a kid, and that was before NASA or Disney ever existed. You know,
right? So my point is there's a device called the Anti-Cathera Mechanism that was discovered off of Greece in the ocean. It's a couple thousand years old, and it had all these complex gears. It looked like the workings of the inside of a watch. And they figured out what it was. It predicts all of the eclipses and the positions of some of the planets and the sun and the moon and all of the solar eclipses too.
It's been studying it for years.
So they've known this for years, and everybody knew the Earth was flat in the early 1900s. In the early 1900s. We'll get into that next. Let me just finish on the app real quick to show you what it is. Here's how circumnavigation works, okay? The north is at the center. South is every direction away from the center. And as we talked about, if I want a dead reckon east, I'm going to go east, which is 90 degrees. I'm following my compass 90 degrees, and I've gone all the way around the world. I come back to where I am. And because of our ball programming, we think we went around a ball, when in fact, we just went around the block. I can go north, 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 south, south, south. I'm over in Japan. Bam. But what I can't do is go south and come up on the other side. I can't go from Santiago and pop up in Australia, or from Johannesburg and pop up in New Zealand. No one's ever done that because you can't, because the Earth is flat. So if I hit the question mark, this is where all of the stuff I've been talking about comes. You guys like, hey, what about gravity? Or what about seasons? Or the big one, why the lie? If I click why the lie, up comes a playlist of videos that Google will not serve you, right? And if you watch these videos, that'll answer the question in depth, why the lie. You go to the next page, have all other resources, but the bottom right, it says mud floods Tartaria. If you click that button, bring food and water, because you're going to find out about our recent past that you had no idea about. Then again, other languages, in case those extraterrestrials can't speak English, they can watch in whatever language they do speak. And the thing I tell people is, this is the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. I say, take the challenge. Every day, there's a new video right here. Usually short ones during the week, longer ones on the weekend. Watch the video every day for 2 weeks, and then you will know you don't live on a spinning ball. There's no denying it. What happens is people say, hey, I saw you on the so-and-so show, and I didn't want to wait every day for the video, so I hit the archive button, and up comes all of the videos from that month. If you hit the little hamburger at the top, all the videos from all the previous months, and I haven't slept in 2 days. Holy crap, my girlfriend thinks I'm crazy. What the hell should I do? And I say, welcome to Flat Earth. The app does a ton of other stuff. You can change the background.
Can you get that app anywhere on is it on Android and Apple?
It's on Android. You have to have operating system 8.0 or higher. That shouldn't be a problem. And it's on the Apple App Store. It's by Blue Water Bay. It's called the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. It is $2.99, one-time fee. You're buying me a half a beer, barely. And when you go into it, so there's all sorts, again, in here, there's all sorts of stuff. You can have the background change randomly. If you turn that on, you can buy cool t-shirts. There's all sorts of stuff, and you can customize the settings. You can, turn on what you want shown on the screen and whatnot. It does a ton of stuff. But
what was that? Can you say the name a little slower? You're saying really fast. The Sun,
Flat
Moon,
Earth, Sun,
Flat
Moon,
Earth.
and Zodiac Clock app. But it's the #1 hit. If you just type in Flat Earth Clock, it'll come up. And the company name is Blue Water Bay. And it's $2.99. You can't miss it.
And why is my question? My next question. Sorry, go ahead.
One last thing. There is a pop-up. People just go read the reviews, except for the couple people that says it's not working on my phone because they have a crappy old phone or something. Just read the reviews. Everyone says it's amazing. So people ask me if I could put a donation button on there, and Apple and Google don't allow that. So I put a subscription button on there. Let me tell you what the subscription gets you. You get a pop-up. It says, would you like to subscribe for 99 cents or $11 for the year? You can exit out immediately, and it only shows up once a day, not like every couple of minutes, once per 24 hours, and that's it. You still get everything. Exit it out immediately. You don't need to subscribe. Just get the app. If you want to subscribe, you want to support me to help me do this, feel free, but it's not a requirement. All right, go ahead. I'm back.
Why are you devoting your life to this?
Why the lie? We can get into that, but
get into that. I'm so curious.
You ready? You ready for that?
Benefiting from this.
This is going to be a tough one.
What's in that? Is that coffee cup real right now that you're drinking out of?
It is, and it's from Costco, which I am banned from. No longer allowed to go to Costco.
Why? Wearing a mask?
I have a formal letter because I wouldn't wear a mask, and
yes, nice.
They called the cops on me.
Not an
and I filmed the whole thing, and the cops, I held them feet to the fire, but I still got banned forever. So
were you the guy that was lying on the ground throwing a hissy fit that I saw a video of, or no?
That was not me. I was the guy standing up telling the cop, I'm not giving you my ID. You give me your ID. That was me.
Nice.
Karen.
Nice.
You're a little Karen over there.
No, Karens are the guys. Karens are the ones with the mask.
He's a Kyle.
Yeah. I don't wear a mask ever.
Yeah, Karens are the ones that's bitch. Oh, like, put your mask on, you weirdo. It's like, get the fuck out of my face, Karen.
COVID, man. You were dodging speedboats on your couch. Come on.
Oh, yeah. It was good shit. But see, it was a flu. It was basically a flu.
Did you have COVID, David?
Maybe not. People get sick every year. People die.
Yeah.
Less people died in 2020 than in 2019 worldwide.
That's not true.
Well, it is true.
That is not true.
It is
and
true.
Don't believe the COVID 200,000 people died because they already came out and said it. That fucking only like 13,000 of people actually died from actual COVID.
I just lost all your audio, Jimmy.
Is your junk a hairy shit show? Is your partner coughing up too many hairballs? Say no to wax, razors, and lasers. And yes, to the Lawnmower 3.0 by Manscaped. Its skin-safe technology prevents ingrown hairs, irritation, blood, sweat, and tears, ensuring smooth entry and great head without the hair. And your partner can kiss that pube floss goodbye. Use on your back, balls, boobs, and butthole. It's time to say bye-bye to the bush and hello to the Lawnmower 3.0 by Manscaped. Visit Manscaped at manscaped.com today.
We were at COVID
why
and
the
the
lie?
whole mask in Costco.
Yeah.
I
There's a lot to unpack.
It's a lot. So we don't want to. We can go down the COVID road, but I don't think you want to. So
I kind of want to.
I'm happy to do it. I'm on the Uncle Odd show tomorrow night talking about it. So, okay. Why the friggin' lie? So again, this is going to be tough with you guys because I was you guys years ago. I would be listening to a podcast on health, on a conspiracy, whatever. I'm like, these guys are awesome. Taking notes, 3 pages of notes. And then all of a sudden, one of them would mention the Bible, God, Jesus, Muhammad. And I'd rip up the notes, unsubscribe, and never listen to them again because they're religious fanatics. Okay. I guess he could label me a pure atheist, period. So when I started looking into the flat earth, I was like, okay. So, in the heliocentric model, nothing exploded. It created everything. Then all the rocks formed rocky balls and all the gases formed gassy balls and left a vacuum in between. And lightning struck, created an amoeba that turned into a fish that grew legs, that found another sexy legged fish, had a monkey, and the monkey had a retarded baby. It was a human. Okay. So that's the heliocentric evolution story. And that we live on a spinning speck in the middle of an infinite godless universe, or possibly distant God universe at best. So when I discovered that the earth is intelligently designed, I'm like, oh, fuck, it's intelligently designed. So there is a creator. Now, I'm not saying who the creator is. You want to say it's an alien? Fine, whatever. There's a creator, and this world is created for us, and we are at the center of creation. We're not lost in space. So once you realize that you are important, that you are, you have natural law or universal law, and some people call it God's law, where nobody has dominion over you, where you are the ruler of your own life, and nobody can break those laws. When you realize that, you take your power back. So the ruling families that are running this world don't want you to know that you have this power, that your thoughts create your reality, and that you don't have to bow down to anybody. Nobody has dominion over you.
Who's the ruler, though? You always are talking. You're referring to the rulers.
Yeah. So
the controller.
Yahweh.
Who is that?
Yahweh.
Well, the controllers of this world, that we see, we see the president and the queen and, all of the stuff, but they're puppets of the people over them. I don't know who they are. They probably live in those extra terra beyond Antarctica, styling with their own cool sun out there. Who the heck knows?
I think it's Psalms 18 says, Psalms 83:18. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a verse in the Bible that says that and again, I'm not a Bible guy, and me quoting the Bible is insane. But there's
only what I know.
The verse in the Bible that says, once you see God's creation, you can no longer deny his existence. You have no excuse to deny his existence. Well, I've denied God's existence my entire life. And then I realized, okay, somebody created this place, so I can no longer deny his existence. I could get it wrong on who or what I think it is, but that's your own personal journey. But once you take your power back, we just had a conference, Flat Earth conference in South Carolina in October. And there was like 450 of us. No one's wearing masks. Everyone is wide awake, can see what's going on in the world. Super healthy, super smart, super nice. Like the most amazing group of people that you've ever been with. And that's because we're not spinning out of control, lost in space. Our feet are planted on the ground. If everyone woke up to Flat Earth tomorrow, all governments would shut down, all universities would shut down, all space programs would shut down. The whole world would go through a massive change. And people would realize they don't need mind control. Govern the mind is government. Ment is mind, govern is control. Government is to control your mind, because your mind is what creates your reality. Everything you have in your life, good and bad, was brought in by your own thoughts. You've created the world that you are sitting in right now. Okay. And they don't want us to know that our minds are super powerful. We are having this soul's journey here in this realm. And if they can keep hiding God, no other way to say it, then they can keep control of our minds.
How are they hiding God? Because God is, Christianity is spread across the entire world, and so is most other religions. So
absolutely. So there are plenty of people that have found God, and there are plenty of people that are living good lives and obeying God's law. God bless them. They're just missing a little piece of it. But then there's a massive amount of the world, a large percentage. I don't know what the number is. And I was one of them. And I know many people that deny God, that people are like, there's pseudo-Christians. There's all sorts of people that don't believe in God. And they don't care about the ones that already believe in God because they're already done. They're fine. They just want to stop more people, because if everyone wakes up to this, they're finished. They're finished.
What about someone like me? So number one, dating a very Christian woman. Mm-hmm. I'm a staunch atheist, believe the world's a ball. I mean, what does that mean for my future? I mean,
are you a good person? Here's a question. Are you a good person? Do you obey natural law, which is don't fuck anybody, don't kill anybody, and don't steal from anybody?
I fuck my girlfriend, but that's about it.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother thing. So if you're a good person, that's okay. That's good. And like if you don't go to church, you're going to hell. I don't believe that. I don't believe any of that. Okay. But if your girlfriend is a staunch Christian, well, the Bible from page 1 is a flat earth book. Page 1 says God separated the waters from the waters and created the firmament, the dome. Werner von Braun, the Nazi scientist that was appointed to run NASA, his gravestone says, all it says is his date of birth and death and Psalms 19:1. Psalms 19:1 is about the firmament and God separating the waters from the waters. Okay. Why would a NASA rocket scientist have a thing about a dome on his gravestone? The only thing on his gravestone, was it to let us know? Because they always have to let us know. There's also 200 verses in the Bible that talk about a flat, immovable earth. There's nothing that talks about planets. There's nothing that talks about spheres.
Because they didn't know back then.
Well,
and the Bible's fake anyways, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so again, I'm not arguing the Bible. I'm telling you that, Christianity lines up with flat earth. And there's so many Christians in flat earth that you'd almost think it's a religious thing, but it's not. There's just Christians that are in flat earth. The Christians are everywhere, as you said.
I mean, it kind of helps their narrative.
Flat earth fits with everything. There's people that are into astrology. You guys, what do you think of astrology?
My mother's an astrologist.
Yeah, so she's taking great information and she's wrapping it around her ball belief. If she understood what the flat earth is, it works better on a flat earth. How is a distant rock 25 million miles away going to affect my day unless that distant rock is an energetic thing that's connected to the earth, that's literally right in our own sky, that's close by, that actually has a connection to us? The earth is a giant battery. Okay, the sun and the moon are the anode and cathode of that battery, and the salt water, it carries the currents, and the continents are the salt bridge of the battery, if you understand how batteries work. And that's why there's only tides in salt water, not fresh water. Okay,
So I don't agree with that, but I do love that analogy. That's a really good one.
There's a YouTube channel, LC King, the letter L, the letter C, King. He breaks down the galvanic cell earth battery like nobody else. It'll blow your mind, and check that out if you want. So there's so much to this. You know, you guys haven't asked about gravity. You know, gravity's just a theory.
That shit work on titties.
A great song too.
And balls.
They're buoyancy and density sort everything out. The only true directions are up and down, because forward and backwards are all relative to which way you're facing. Left and right, same thing. But the earth has a measurable negative charge to it. Measurable. You put an ionizer in a room, it charges all of the dust particles to positive, and they all fall to the ground, right? But that negative charge is a weak force that just establishes a downward direction. And then buoyancy and density sort everything else out. If I drop something, it falls into my hand. If I drop a basketball, it falls through the air, but it lands on top of the water because it's less dense than the water and more dense than the air. So everything is just sorted out by buoyancy and density and the static charge. And the way we can prove this is, you ever see those, they make a triangle out of tinfoil, they put electrodes on it, and they put a negative charge on it, and it floats, right? They're defying electromagnetism, that's all, not gravity. Gravity is a theory. Neil deGrasse Tyson says they don't know what it is. They don't know how it works. They have to add 96% dark matter to make it work, and it still doesn't work.
There's so much to understand. So that doesn't mean it's not true, though. And also, let's talk about centrifugal force. Mm-hmm. That's something that I think is a big part of this argument. So do you have an argument for that?
Yeah. So the Earth is spinning. The Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. Neil deGrasse Tyson, science, says that the water bulges out from centrifugal force at the equator 14 miles high. A bulge of water 14 miles high. And he says, well, you really can't see that from space because it's insignificant with the size of the Earth. Okay, I'll give him that. Airplanes travel at 5 miles, cruising altitudes 5 miles. So if you're going from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere, when do you climb that extra 10 miles to get over that hump? The answer is never, because there is no hump. The water is flat. And think about this. Ready? Think about this. So if you're on the equator, so here's a spinning globe. If you're on the equator, you're spinning 1,000 miles an hour, right? Because the Earth is 24,000 miles around. 1,000 miles an hour brings you around once a day, right?
Yep.
If you're all the way up in Alaska, not Alaska, at the North Pole, are you moving 1,000 miles an hour, or are you just turning around once a day? You're just turning around once a day. You're not moving linearly 1,000 miles an hour, right?
Okay. If
you were 1 mile from the North Pole, your circle is going to be 3.14 miles around. So you're moving at like a quarter of a mile an hour. But at the equator, you're going 1,000 miles an hour. If you're in an airplane at the North Pole and you took off and you flew to Ecuador and you want to land on a runway that's north-south, that runway is moving sideways at 1,000 miles an hour. How the fuck are you going to land on that thing? Yeah, thank you.
You're in your own little gravity zone, so it doesn't matter because that.
So you're saying as I'm flying, gravity is grabbing that plane and speeding it up the whole way. It's speeding it up sideways. So when I get to Ecuador, I'm going 1,000 miles an hour.
Gravity is absolutely acting on that plane as that plane moves along with the rotation of the Earth.
That's crazy. Okay, that's crazy. So the second law of thermodynamics says you can't have high pressure next to low pressure without a physical barrier. You can prove that. Get a bottle, suck some air out of it, put the top on it. You have low pressure in the bottle. You open up the bottle, it's going to suck the air right up into it, right? Everyone's done this as a kid.
Yes.
If I took that bottle and I stuck the nose underneath the surface of water and I opened the cap, it's going to suck the water up and away, right? It's going to pull the water up into the bottle somewhat, right? That's low pressure. Space is a vacuum, the ultimate in low pressure. Okay, the NASA has a vacuum chamber that can't even make the vacuum that they say space is, and the walls are 11 feet thick of lead, so it doesn't implode on itself. How come that vacuum of space doesn't suck the air up and away from Earth? And you can't say gravity, because I can take a straw with the weak vacuums of my mouth and lungs and suck water and air up and away from Earth effortlessly.
Because of our atmosphere.
You're just using words. Atmosphere is the air. How is that air not flying off into space without a physical barrier?
There's a barrier.
There is a barrier.
What barrier?
The ozone layer.
The ozone is not a physical barrier. Ozone is a gas.
Right.
Gases will fill if you have a vacuum, a box of vacuum, you open it up, it's going to fill with gas. Space is a vacuum. It should suck all the air away. Now, many flat earthers say there has to be a physical dome because you can't have high pressure Earth air next to a vacuum of space. I don't believe that space is a vacuum. I believe space is water, right? And you can have a dome without a physical barrier. Think of a bubble on the bottom of a pot of water, right? You got the flat surface there, you got the high pressure system, and you got the water above it, and there's not really a physical barrier there. So
But air is a physical barrier. Any kind of gas is a physical barrier that has molecules that are much closer together than the vacuum.
And how do you stop those molecules from equalizing in pressure into low pressure? You cannot. It breaks the second law of thermodynamics. No matter where you have low pressure, that you have low pressure next to a high pressure, whoosh, you have wind until it neutralizes.
Oh boy.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
This is tough. Here's the problem.
It is
We're
all-
guys.
it's all
We're
very
guys.
tough.
We're
It's a
guys.
lot.
No, we're guys, and we love our balls on every way you look at that. We love balls. Guys love balls. Nobody
loves
likes having
balls.
their balls
I don't.
taken away.
Rex
Because
loves
I am
balls.
removing your balls. I am removing the foundation of the earth that you think you live on. But think about this. It's not a foundation. You are spinning out of control, lost in space. I'm putting you on solid foundation. Okay. You live within the earth system, and you are a powerful being here that can do amazing things with your mind, but they need to control your fucking mind.
I control my mind by myself on a spinning planet in space in a solar system. That's
Look
what
at
I
him
firmly
controlling
believe.
your mind. Drake, his head is spinning right here. Drake,
My head is completely spinning right now.
Yeah.
This is like, first of all, I will be the first to admit I never did
I'll
well in
gift
school
the
with
app
science.
to all of you if you haven't downloaded it already. I'm going to gift it to all of you. Okay?
Amazing.
And just take the app challenge. Watch the video every day. And if there's a video you don't like, turn it off and go, I'm not going to count that one, because
Right.
there might be something that you're like, I don't agree with that, because you might not get it yet. That's fine. Just watch
Who's
the next one.
funding all this?
It's amazing. Dude, this is the most. I quit. I had my own company. I was making high six figures. I walked away from it all to do this.
Who
because
funds it?
This is the most important secret that the elite have. This is the most important thing. This is why this world is so fucked up right now, because people are lost in space, spinning out of control.
Soon, but I want to know who's funding all of this? Where's
All of
the
what?
money coming from?
From me?
The whole Flat Earth Society, all that. Like where?
We are not the Flat Earth Society. That is a government-controlled opposition site, right? So anything you see there is not what we believe,
Okay.
right? That is to gatekeep you.
Got
Bill Nye, the lying guy with the bow tie, Neil deGrasse Tyson, the failed actor. Those guys are there to control your mind. SpaceX, NASA, those are there to control your mind.
Trump?
Okay.
So what about Trump?
So Trump, that's a great question, man. Is he the fucking savior of the world?
I hope
or
so.
is he controlled? We're gonna find out. Maybe tomorrow. Who knows?
I feel like Donald Trump, if he thought that, if he knew that NASA was like some bullshit thing with Disney and they were all in like cahoots with each other, I feel like he's the guy that would be like, let's fucking cut this shit.
Right, 'cause he
on
cares about
day
America.
one, he should have said, "NASA, you're finished." But the whole world,
But
here's
he
the
didn't.
thing: when this comes out, when this truth comes out, society is totally over. As not a bad way or a good way. There's gonna be mayhem. There's gonna be hangings in the streets. Politicians are gonna need to hide. All of this. We give NASA $65 million a day. Okay, for what? CGI? For nonsense. They don't actually get that money. That's just money they're taking from us. Did I lose you guys again? You
No,
there?
we're
Did you
here.
hear me?
Oh, all right, I was just quiet. All
here.
right, good. I was just worried. So, were you asking about where does the funding
who's
come from?
funding? Yeah, who built this app? Like, where's the
Yeah.
money coming from?
So I built the app. This is my app,
Yeah.
right? And I built the app for myself because I'd be explaining flat Earth to guys like somebody. I'm having a one-to-one conversation with them, and they'd be like, "How does it work?" And so I built the app so I can show them, and I break out the app, and they go, "Huh, that's interesting." And then they're like, "Where can I get that app?" So I decided to make it public, and it was free at first, but then I had to start putting a lot of money into it. I put good size double digits into it. 5 digits, not double digits. So I'm almost up to $50. So I put I put tens of thousands into this. And so when I was getting to the point where I realized how important this message was, I went to pay my bills, and the app had generated just enough money to pay my monthly bills. I was like, you know what, if I do this, I could sell more apps. I can wake up more people. And I walked away from a healthy 6-figure company that I started. Okay. My partners are still there. They're killing it. And that's okay. That's good. But I walked away from it all. So this is how I support myself. $2.99. It's a half a beer.
I'm going to buy it. I mean, I want to support it just because even if right now I'm still a little confused, but it's definitely, I'm entertained by it. And that's all I can. That's all I can.
Here's the thing. We were taught the earth was a ball before we can talk. They sat us down in front of Sesame Street, which is all globe programming. Okay. There's some educational stuff in there too. They teach you numbers and whatever and colors. But every movie, every television show, Star Wars, Star Trek, all of the space, it's all ball programming. NASA, JAXA, all of the space agencies, it's all ball programming, because this is the lie. The globe lie is the most important lie that these guys have to keep us in control. Because when people wake up to this, it's over. So it's over for them. So the question is, are they gonna? The awakening's happening. Tens of thousands of people are waking up weekly now, and we're gonna hit critical mass. So one tweet by Justin Bieber, okay, one tweet is all it would take. 145 million people would download the app, and then it would be over. We're gonna hit that point one day, unless they flip the tables over beforehand.
Well, there was a rapper, B.O.B., I think his name is, who was
he is a
who
flat
just
earther.
said that, and he's been canceled. Everyone just fucking canceled him.
Yeah, well, he's not that big of a guy. I didn't know who he was until he made the flat earth comment. We've talked to him. He never stepped up. He got talked to, and he never pushed the good stuff. Kyrie Irving was the other guy, the basketball player. He made a comment, Shaq made a comment, immediately retracted it. Right? These guys lose everything if they mention it. Okay. So again, what about pilots? Well, lots of pilots know, but they can't speak out. We had a KLM pilot do an interview with us, and she got fired the next day, or she got grounded. So, there's lots of pilots that are taking video. They're like, look at the moon. It's over Australia, and look at the sun over there, and we're over here. But they're uploading these videos anonymously because they don't want to lose their careers.
Well, we have no careers to lose right now, so
it's all right, man, because this is going mainstream. More and more people are waking up. 5 years ago, if I mentioned flat earth to a show, no one's having me on. But now every single friggin' email we send out, we go, yeah, we'll have you on. Literally 9 out of 10 say yes. And if I send a second email to the 10th one that said no, they're like, okay, we'll have you on.
Oh man, Jimmy, do you have any other questions? Jimmy, you're muted.
No, there.
Jimmy.
So again, the belief is the enemy of knowing. You can believe anything. Knowing takes time and effort and critical thought. And the final statement is, you could lead a man to flat water, but you can't make him think critically about the shape of the earth.
And on that one, David, thank you so much for coming on here. Everyone go download the app, Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Or if you're watching on our YouTube,
Point
He's
your
got a
camera
QR
right there.
code. Yep, point your camera right there. It's brilliant. Honestly, dude, you have a whole great little setup, and this was really fun. We'll have to have you on again.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it, and reach
Lovely.
out anytime. We could do a follow up after all of your fans say you guys are the dumbest people on earth, and I'm unsubscribing.
After Trump wins.
But hang tight, because you'll gain so many new people, and you'll be amazed on how many people are going to say they were waiting for this. Here's one thing you're going to notice in your comment section: the people that think this is stupid, they're going to give you ball proofs, and here are the ball proofs they're going to give you. This guy's a moron. This guy lives in his mother's basement. This guy has no education. This guy is retarded. These are the proofs they're going to give you. And then if you go look at their channel, they have zero content on their channel. These are just globe trolls and butthurt people. So you're not going to get, and so we mentioned a Bitcoin at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
I have a Bitcoin for anybody that can come up with one globe proof. And if you want to say a photo of Earth, show me the photo. If you want to say curvature from an airplane, show me the photo. Okay.
I'm gonna.
There are none.
The moment there's a Virgin, whatever Galactic allows you to go up, I'm
Like
gonna buy
Virgin.
you a fucking ticket.
Right.
They've been promising me hotels in space since 1970. Okay.
Cool,
All right,
guys.
buddy.
Hey,
All
good
right.
talking to you, Dave.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks for the conversation. Thanks
sure,
for having
mad
an
love.
open mind, and don't stick your head in the sand. Look into this further. All right.